Hi, I'm Sharon Bill. As I progress through the ABRSM Grade 6 Music Theory Workbook, we now look at question 1b, exercise 10. In question 1b, we are required to compose a bass line to a given melody line, and we are also required to add figures to show our chord choices using figured bass. In this particular exercise, we are given the opening bars of a lively flute gavotte by the well-known composer Handel in the key of C major. In addition to maintaining thematic unity between the bass line and the given melody line, and observing all of the rules of four-part harmony that we imply with our chord choices and bass line, and also observing all of the main cadence points, I also point out the opportunity to use a useful sequential device very often favoured by these Baroque composers. The full lesson can be found on my Patreon channel. If you visit patreon.com/Sharon Bill, you can find the full lesson there, and you can find links to this lesson in the cards and in the description box. After this short little video, you can see sample examples taken from the full Patreon lesson, showing you how I give you tips and techniques on composing and structuring a melody, note by note, bar by bar, just as if I was sitting right next to you. Everything you need to understand this advanced level music theory can be found in my Harmony and Composition textbook. This book is available from Amazon, and you can find links to this in the cards and the description box. Enjoy your studies. We have the most famous composer of all that period, I suspect. I don't think Handel requires any introduction. He was a German Baroque composer who was something of an Anglophile, to the point that he became a British subject. I think there's a famous story of when he came for a long visit to England and overstayed his welcome for his German kind of employer, and ended up in all sorts of trouble. He's written an absolute plethora of compositions. Probably most famously is Handel's Messiah. And then here we've got an E. So if we go to chord 1, now here we couldn't use 1b because this is a major key, and 1b would have an E in the bass, and we already have an E here. And remember, in a major chord you can't double the third. Now here, let's think, I'm getting ahead of myself here, let's think, we've definitely got a cadence point, haven't we? And this is the note D, so we've got an imperfect cadence, which makes perfect sense, if you'll pardon the pun, because we don't want it to sound finished yet, do we? So you could do that, definitely. Or what you could do, because there's no passing note there, what we could do is have quaver, quaver, crotchet, quaver, quaver, crotchet, and just create something different. So options there. Either one of those will do, but here that must stay as the crotchet C. I'm going to keep that as a minim, just to, give the poor flautist a little pause. It's all very busy, and give the continuous fingers a little bit of a rest, bring things to and although it's 2 beats, it's a very fast 2 beats, so we're not hanging around for too long. So in actual fact, if you look at this, step, 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 drop a fourth, step, 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 drop a fourth. So we have here a sequence. That's the term. It's one of those little features we use in the composition question, where we use the same sort of melodic pattern by raising it or lowering the pattern. So if we can try and replicate that in the bass line as well, just to keep that sort of musical unity. So here we have an A and a C, which to me would suggest a chord 4 where we're the root note missing. And then here we have a D and an A, which would be chord 2. We could consider changing that to a 2B if we needed to. That would be a note F, so just bear that in mind. And then here we have a B and a D, so that would lead itself towards chord 5, which is a G, and let's see what's happening here. If we stay, we've got, now we're a step higher than we were here, so that's representing the sequence. So if we opt for the root position 2, that's dropping down a third. So if we drop down a third here, is that going to work? Let's see if we keep this sequential pattern. So we have here an E and a B, which is a chord we've not really given much attention to. We avoid chord 3 as far as possible, just because it requires particular treatment. Because if you look at the composition of the chord, we have E, G, B. In a minor key, you would avoid that because of the raised 7th would create an augmented chord. But here, because we're in a major key, it's always best to keep this chord in root position. You would never do so in a minor key, but in a major key it's best. And so in actual fact, we've observed that here. And then chord 5 in root position. And let's just drop the octave to get a little bit of rhythm so that this quaver comes here and then finishing on this C. So that's third. That's that. And then here, just a quick, we've changed this here, and just to show that that's the leading note. There, the leading note rises to the tonic. There, the leading note rises to the tonic. So we've done that little job as well as we sorted this little section out here. So there we go.